everybody, welcome back to The Boring Show.
Hi everyone, I am not Philip.
So I'm Andrew again. This is Matt this time. So we're changing up the cast a little bit here. If you haven't seen The Boring Show before, this is about an hour-long show where two Flutter engineers just work on an app covering some interesting things, make mistakes, look things up, and occasionally interact with comments that you guys leave on our previous episodes and via Twitter. So we're going to have some of that as well.
Sounds great, so I get to make mistakes.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Well, we'll see plenty of those. Good.
Yeah, excellent. So when last we left our app, which is a Hacker News Reader, we had just gotten built value into the application, and we had basically gotten an article object that was being generated correctly with SourceGen and built value. But it only had one property, which was ID. And if we look at the Hacker News API, which is what we want to deserialize with this object, there's a lot more than ID in there. So we have all these fields that we're going to need to be able to automatically pull in from JSON and populate one of these article objects with. So the first thing I'm going to do here is try and finish up the built value portion that we started last time by adding the rest of these fields.
Cool. So we're going to use built value for this.
Yes.
Okay. That's...
Unless we run into a snag, in which case we can backtrack and use JSON serializable or something else.
We'll do it by hand.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's only one little object, so who knows. So I'm going to go ahead and grab all of these properties through the magic of cutting and pasting. And this is our old article. This is going to break many things because we already had that out. We had made a second file for it. So I need to get all those extra properties into this article class so that when built value runs, it'll do all of the serialization stuff for it. So let me go ahead and paste here. And this is going to take me just a second. Have you used built value yet in anything?
I've used built value a couple of times. Built value is great for when your incoming JSON roughly or matches the structure of your class pretty well.
Yeah, that's true. If you need to sort of massage stuff.
Did you talk about built values, immutability stuff last week?
We touched on it. I think we haven't done like an app state management episode yet, which is something we do need to get to. We saw that in the comments. People are curious about it. And so I think that'll be more of an issue once we get into that. It's because people have very strong opinions about whether your app model should be immutable, and whether you're like creating a new one. Like that's how Redux works, right? Like your app state doesn't change. The actual object doesn't change.
That's true. But by default with built value, all the values that you create through built value are going to be immutable by default. So every time you want to permutate on an object or you want to change the values internally, what it actually will do is it will generate a new one for you. One of the benefits of built value is that if you build multiple objects with the same internal state, it will not generate multiple objects. It will only reference one. And it will give you
Interesting.
Things like object equality and whatnot pretty much out of the box. So there's a bunch of useful attributes of using built value you get just above and beyond the additional serialization piece too.
Which is good, because if you just want serialization, JSON serializable does a pretty crackerjack job at it.
Yeah, for small things, built value might be overkill. But if you've got a large app and you're going to be generating a ton of objects, some of which may be representatively the same, then built value might get you some neat savings.
Cool. I'm kind of guessing on some of these types. I got to be honest.
There's a lot of parameters.
Well, these are your fields. Everything's an item, so it has to be able to. Ideas. Time to use a built collection.
We're going to have to do some additional work for built collection.
So this would be a built list of integers, which I need to go up here. So, and I think we talked a little bit about this last time as well. Built value is for single objects. It does have a a related package called built collection, which I hope we have in our package. Yeah, we do. So that's already been imported using, that's not how you spell that. So we've already got that if I pull up the pub spec. I think we pulled that in. Yeah. So we already were pulling that one in last time. Let me just make this bigger so that normal human beings can read it. So we've already got that package imported. Right now I'm just adding it to this file and importing it here. So arrays, of course, are by nature immutable. So if you just have a getter for a list, you could still conceivably mutate the list, unless you have an immutable list object.
True, and built lists are immutable list objects,
Right.
I believe.
And so that, I believe, also needs to be a get. All right.
So many getters.
I know.
Nice thing is built value will just create the constructors for you.
It's really driving home the point of me not wanting to write that deserialization method myself. Parts. What the heck is parts? A list of related poll options in display order. And I'm going to go ahead and call that a built list of IDs, basically, and I hope that's the case. The fun part is, since you'll be coding the live network calls, I get to do all this, and then if it's wrong, it'll blow up when you try to use it, and I'm sitting over there, which will be great.
I'm really glad I joined in this episode.
And
When's Philip coming back?
Yeah, he's coming back. He's hiding in the back somewhere. Descendants is an integer, I think. Yeah. This kind of bums me out. They have all these examples of the field, but they don't have one that's like
Yes.
every single field. You know, like there's descendants. Okay, that's an int.
Well, worst case scenario, we can leave a couple of these out.
Yeah, Lord knows we've never made a mistake during an episode of The Boring Show.
Oh, that's
so,
what I was told.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, no, I meant I watched them all.
Okay. So those are all my fields. I should be able to save this and
be
get
able
an error for something. Oh, because I just broke the part file.
Yeah, you're
So
going
they
to have
no
to
longer
regenerate
match.
that.
So let me go and, where am I? Let's do, can I do this from memory?
Huh.
I think that's it.
Isn't it pub run build runner build?
Ah,
I think it might be build.
dang it. It is a build task, isn't it? I was so ready to flex after that. Nope.
I think the other one might be build. There you go. One of these permutations will work
Yeah,
at some point.
there we
There
go.
you go.
Assuming this actually works.
Yeah, that's true.
So now we're regenerating that part file.
Mm-hmm.
This is the generated source to match the properties that you just saw me drop in. That's the magic of built value. Let's go back here, and now I've got all kinds of little properties in here.
Okay.
And I bet you if I scroll down, there's my constructor, all kinds of stuff in here,
Oh,
equality. I'd love to know how this hash code function works. There's the toString. Cool. So built value has just updated some stuff for me. So let's try running one of these as a test and see how that works. Let me go ahead. I have this running. Let me go ahead and stop it. And I'm going to pop out to Hacker News and just try and grab one of these at random.
you got your serializers put into your built value?
It should be... Oh, that's a good point. I need a serializers file.
Yes.
Okay.
And
Let's go look at the example.
Mm-hmm. There is a really good series of articles in Medium on built value and serializing.
Is perhaps this what you're referring to? This is the one that David...
Which, yep, they're
yeah.
the ones.
So
I
that's-
highly recommend you read all of those multiple times, because I did, in order to understand built value.
Yeah, and you can get to them right from the GitHub repo, I believe.
Oh, they link them
I
through.
believe he actually links them right in. I want to say... Oh, no. They're on the pub... they're in his pub entry then. So you can definitely find... Oh, no, articles. There they are. Yeah. Totally worth reading if you're going to do any kind of serious passing data on the wire with JSON.
The other thing that I found super helpful here is that the built value has the examples folder. And if you check out both serializers and values, there's a bunch of very simple examples. Well, ranging from simple to mind-blowing. But that's what got me started when I was first playing around with built value.
All right, I'm going to drop another file in here that I'm going to call serializers, which I can never spell in the first try. And I'll add that later. And so I'm going to drop in. This is his example, which I'm about to trim the heck down because I don't have these classes.
Yeah, you're just going to need the one, right?
Yeah. And this will be coming out of, what is it, JSON parser? We're going to have to restructure some of this code in a bit as well. There we go. I don't think we're using that. Let me save that. And I also need the JSON plugin here. We were talking about this the other day.
Yeah. So one of the things that happens when you use the out-of-the-box serializer is that it's going to serialize it in a weird list-like format where each tuple in the list or each two pieces are going to be a name and a value. So it's not going to really look like JSON. Fortunately, there's a JSON plugin which basically makes it format nicely where you have the JSON name value structure by default. And so highly recommended unless you're doing some very bespoke managing of your data to use the JSON plugin.
Yeah, the format that they use by default, it does have advantages. Like you can not have it puts some type information on the wire.
Yep.
I think in a way that normally if you're doing JSON, you sort of have to have agreement of what things look like completely on both ends, and that's how it works. All right, what did I just copy out of here again? There we go.
Oh, you need to add the plugin to your serializer creator, I think.
Oh my goodness. Okay, file serializers.FutureBuilder.
Yeah, I think it's the .add plugin that you can latch onto your builder.
There we go. That's what I'm looking for.
There you go. That should do it.
Okay. And so that's... Okay, so I've got another part file here. The serializers file has its own part file, just like the article one did. So let's go back to the terminal, and since I don't have to guess for this anymore, since it's the most recent command, it's very easy to write. There we go. So this should generate that part file for us. If I come back in here.
Much generated source code. Wow.
There we go.
Very little generated source code.
Yeah, that's very small. And I'm guessing I need to pull... Let's see, package. Sorry. There we go.
That's the one.
All my little red lines went
There we
away.
go.
That's awesome.
Oh, look, you're using new. How very dark of you.
There you go. It's my own fault for cutting and pasting code that's more than 2 months old. Okay, so let's pop back here. I've got that. So I've got the serializers. I'm not using Dart Convert just now. I do need to include the file that I just made. I'm trying to get it to where I can use this in a test just to make sure it works, because that's what we were doing in our last episode. So let's go back to parse article.
So there's a lot that's involved here in terms of creating serializers and part files and everything else. But ultimately, when you look at the amount of code that you're writing for what you're going to get out of it, I'm assuming this is going to be worth it, right?
Okay, abstract class article. And I've forgotten how to deserialize with built value. 1 second.
There's a serializer.deserialize.
That's it. You give it the right.
Your serializer.
That's it. So I should have serializers dot deserialize with article dot serializer, and I just realized I'm missing a line from my article class that I should not be. So one of the things I need to do is
you need to pop the serializer
this.
in. Yeah, there you go.
So each class reports the type of serializer to use to deserialize it, with built value. And so I need to add, and David Morgan once reviewed my code and told me to put it at the top.
Oh.
So I have it on good authority.
So the creator of built value
Told me where to put
your serializer.
Yeah.
How rude.
There we go. And why don't I find you? Or you? Capital N? No.
Do they have to be generated?
Oh, I may need to generate it again.
Yeah.
You're right.
This is the thing with built value. You get a lot of red lines until you run the generator.
That's why it can be a good idea to run the watch.
Yeah.
Which I'm not doing here just because I want to show each time it's running. But I think we covered that last time. You could run it with a parameter to get it to just watch the file system and then kick off a rebuild.
Just be careful with your hot
I messed
reload.
up.
When that, ooh, what happened there?
Yep. Declare. Okay, so this is the serious. It just gave me the right statement to use. Such nice people. It's like, hey, we were parsing your code and we noticed it sucked. Let's try that again.
There we go.
I love mature libraries. Okay, and that still needs a parentheses on the end, I think. And I'm missing something here. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
It must be a... There we go. Cool.
Sweet.
One step at a time. Okay, now I think I can do a serializer here. Then I give it the object to be serialized, which in this case would be the parsed JSON. So just like before, we were parsing the JSON into a... it comes out as a dynamic, but it would either be a list under the hood of IDs. That was one of the examples we were doing. Or it would be a map of label, key value pairs. And that internal format of the map is the same thing that built value will take. I'm not giving it the raw string. And hopefully, this will work. I think. Are you still? Why are you arguing with me?
Oh, you've got built list. Yeah, that's probably going to confuse matters slightly.
Do I need... doing something wrong.
Let me see if I can find something
Let
else.
me put, maybe I need, if I import built collection up here.
There we go.
I think that will get picked up in the part file. Cool. Okay, so I was just missing that import for built collection, which was confusing the poor little serializer, because of course it has to deserialize a built collection. So let's go ahead and run this test now that I think I've got all the statically grabbable errors here. Is that going to break? There we go. Do reformat. Let's run. Whoop. Can I run you as a test? Oh, this isn't my test file, is it? That's why I can't run it.
Oh, you've got
That's
your...
my JSON
that's
file.
a neat way of doing it.
Okay. Okay.
So you have that in a test, you've got your JSON string, and then you're just calling the parser.
Yep, and this was... I'm trying to remember if this is the real one or if this is the hacked up one that we were working with earlier. Let's wing it.
You
Let's
could
just see
cut
what
and
happens.
paste it up into a multi-line string. Might make it easier to read.
It's thinking. Oh. Deserialization error. Okay.
It's not happy.
Internal linked hash map. Okay. All right, I'm going to stop this and back out. I'm also going to make this bigger. Let me go get a...
I can't remember with built
Actual
value.
ones.
Are all of those parameters required, or do you mark them as required, or
Oh, that's a good
some
point.
of them
I
might
think
not be there?
technically all of these are nullable. Let me go back then and start putting some nullables on these. And that, of course, has its own. Does that come out of meta? Where do you get them?
Let me see.
It can't come out of Flutter. It's got to come out of Dart.
Is that part of the meta package?
Annotations. Can we go steal some knowledge from the example again? Meta, so it is pulling in meta.
Still doesn't like that.
Because it's lowercase. There we go.
Ah,
I
perfect.
think that'll do it. Let me go real quick to source gen again to make sure this is working. So the built list will be nullable by default because that's a collection.
Mm-hmm.
But the primitives, you do need to actually update. Okay. Deleted. Okay. Let me go back. Start closing some things. And actually type should always be there. By, I think, should always be there as well. Time. I don't think poll options get scores. Descendants can be null. Okay. Let's try this.
I can see now why you want to do the watch file.
I do like knowing that it's running. I made a little button for it in IntelliJ. You can actually
that's
do
cool.
that. Okay, so let's go back down to JSON test and let's run this one. It'll probably still fail.
Oh, ye of little faith.
All right.
Internal linked, what is he?
Internal linked hash map.
Do you have a hash map inside your JSON? Or do you have a map?
I shouldn't have any of this sort. No? Let's break it out. Dynamic. Oh. I'm not parsing the JSON string.
You're parsing a regular string, aren't you?
I'm
You
just
forgot
throwing
to
a
JSON
string
that.
at it.
Yeah, you should be encoding your JSON.
Point for me. All right.
We could have discovered this 45
I
minutes
know,
later. That would
after
have
I
been
just got-
riveting watching on YouTube.
Just got done talking about how you need to parse the string first. Okay. So dynamic parse
Yeah, that's
equals. So we've got. Are we doing it in here? Was that where? Oh wait, we are decoding it in here.
parse article.
Okay, hold on. A week between filmings and I forget my entire life. Okay. Okay, I got a breakpoint in there. Let's rerun this with debug on and see where I've gone horribly awry.
You know, one of the other things we could do is comment out a bunch of those fields and just make sure it's working on a few of them. Because it'll ignore the rest of them in the JSON object.
Okay, there we go. So let's step over that. So what is actually in this data? Just take a look at it real quick.
No, it's a map of a whole bunch of strings to other things.
So by is a string, right?
Kids is a global list.
Which it should be. That's one of my collections.
Yep.
Descendants is an int. Right, there's ID is an int. Where's descendants? Where are you? Yeah, descendants is an int. Score is an int. Time is an int, which I assume can hold a value that big. Title is a string. Type is also a string, even though it should really be an enum, but that's something to fix later. And nullable is a string, and a nullable string for the URL.
I'm wondering if it's the our build collection. Whether we have to do something funky to make sure that that works.
Oh, I'm using the wrong serializer. That is the standard list-based serializer, I think, and this one is the one with the plugin.
Oh, you were calling the wrong serializer. You're trying to serialize
using the normal format.
Yep.
Okay.
So rule of thumb is don't have two serializers in your serializer.
Which I will fix in like 2 shakes as soon as I verify this works. All right, stop. Save. Let us rerun our test. Back here.
I like the way that you have deliberately made all of these noob mistakes with built list just to show everybody what
it's
what
a kindness. Yeah. Just like how I deliberately don't prepare for these episodes, just to show everybody everything, you know. It's kind of my method. All right, let's step over that one. Can we step over this one? We can.
Did that work?
I think it worked. We got a built list.
Oh, you got a built list.
My
Well,
key promoter, which is normally a handy plugin, is kind of overrunning. Okay, so let's take a second, see what we got here. So we now have an article class that is implementing built values interfaces correctly. We have a source gen version of it. Look at that, nullable was in there the whole time. Wasn't even in the package. So we have an immutable article object now that we can populate from parsed JSON that we can get from the network. And so I think, do you want to like take a break here and swap, and then you can kind of take this, and we're going to have to tear out some things. There were some mocks that got us to...
Okay.
It's not even running anymore. The version that of this that we had going from the first episode, there were some mocks involved, and so those would need to be ripped out and this real article put in there.
But you don't have any... you have no networking code yet, right?
No networking code at all.
So do we want to build some tests around the networking code? I know they're not really tests that you would want to run because they require a network, but at least they would get us going. Or do we want to dive straight in and jump straight into the networking side?
That's a good question. I think it would be good to just show at least one call to go get some JSON, and we could still do that in a test too.
Yeah, so why don't we start with a test that actually pulls a JSON back from Hacker News, and then we can see it populating here, and at least then we know things are working.
Yes.
Is it going to return a single article or multiple articles?
So that's the fun of the API. It returns a list of IDs. So this will be kind of fun. It returns a list of IDs that you can get the top 500, and then you need to, one after another.
Wait, I have to make an individual network call?
Individual network calls.
Seriously?
Yeah. We'll probably be talking about local storage and caching in our next episode.
We'll be talking about not flooding the network.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that makes life easier.
Okay, so...
We're not going to do a built value for a list of...
No, I don't...
No, that would
just
nuts.
be a built collection.
Yeah,
anyway.
That would be overkill. But for something with like a dozen parameters, including internal lists and maps and everything else, built value, once you remember to call the right serializer, is the way to go.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to switch places. That's what we switch.
All right, that's where we switch. See, if Philip was here, that would have been super smooth.
Yeah.
But Philip isn't here.
You
So.
really didn't watch the second episode all the way through, did you? I think I almost
I
tripped
was
over.
coding while I was watching it. It was,
Yeah,
you know, I was
you're busy.
Yeah.
And we're back.
Aha!
Can you hand me that sheet of paper down there, the one with writing on it? So I want to talk
this-
about some stuff.
Is there a cheat sheet?
There's a cheat sheet.
Oh, okay, good.
Much like we crib code from other people's examples. There we go. Yeah, so I thought this would also be a good time. We talked in our last episode about how we're going to respond to questions that people posted, which is great if I can keep myself from answering them too quickly in the YouTube comments, which is it's my instinct. I see somebody ask a question, it's like, oh, I can help with that. I'll like type out an answer, and it makes it slightly less fun to answer them here, a little bit less dramatic.
We're going to be dramatic?
Yeah.
Excellent.
But there are some. I actually learned something from one of the comments that somebody put down. And hopefully the graphics people can put it right about here in a second. We talked about why there's no reflection in Flutter.
There is no reflection there is reflection in Dart, but not in Flutter.
And I kind of butchered the explanation for why. And it does relate to the fact that the Dart is ahead of time compiled to native code. But the detail that I left out is that Dart takes advantage of tree shaking. So it can use, delightful static language, strongly typed, statically dispatched, I think. And so it can go through and see which methods you're actually going to use out of your code base. So if you pull in a package, you only use 2 methods out of it. It can go in there and just toss out all the code that you're never going to call, which is great until you try to use reflection to dynamically call one of those methods that's now no longer in your app. So that is the reason that reflection is out for the moment. There is talk about bringing in some annotation-based stuff to tag things to say, hey, I might call this with reflection later. Don't take it out when you do the tree shaking. But as of right now, no reflection. So thanks for that comment. I actually, got to dig in and learn something from it. What else did we have? We also had something, I don't think this is going to come up today, but somebody mentioned HTTP overrides in Dart. Have you ever used those?
I have never used HTTP overrides in Dart.
It's a way to short circuit the HTTP client library and say, run this code as if this object I'm going to give you is the HTTP client.
It's like mocking out the HTTP piece, so you can just provide JSON directly from, I don't know, shared preferences.
Whatever you want to do.
Oh,
So for testing, you can, it's how you would build a little convenient fake HTTP client.
And is that with the Dart HTTP or the HTTP package?
That's a good. We can probably look it up real quick.
We should probably look it up.
Yeah.
Where is your? Oh, there we go. Dart HTTP override.
Here we go.
It looks.
I think if you look in HTTP client, you'll see it on the left. So if you, or am I used to the Flutter one where we get all the rest of them? Not on there.
Not that I can see. No.
Okay, it does exist. It's not like the Snuffleupagus, I swear. It's definitely in there. Cool. Okay, so
Right.
let's get back to some things.
Great. IntelliJ. I use Visual Studio Code. So
Yeah, I know.
This is going to be
Philip
fun.
uses Android Studio.
So we're going to have some interesting coding things. Okay, so how does this work? We have this, and you have your tests in JSON test.dart. So conceivably, I can create a new test, right? That is going to do something like parses item.json over a network. And so, right, what are we going to do? We're going to not want to have this anymore, so we can.
Yeah, we're going to go get the
this
real
one.
business.
And we are going to have. So, you use const. I typically use things like final for mine. Much of a muchness. If I'm going to have a URL in here,
I think Philip wrote that one.
Okay. Right. We're going to use final.
We actually, real quick, I ran into an interesting discussion with some of the tools team when we were talking to them this past week about how constants, if you change a constant, they said that will get reloaded for a hot reload, but a final will not.
Oh, it'll rebuild the constants.
Because it's a stateful hot reload, so it wants to keep track of the state of your object. And so that includes any final variables that you've set at that point. But constants aren't considered part of that state. And so apparently if you set a const on variable, hot reload will update that. If you're setting const somewhere and you want to see the effect of them, it will update that for a hot reload. But a final, it'll be like, oh, that's app state. I'm stateful, so I'm not going to overwrite that.
I'm going to have to try that out.
Probably doesn't matter for tests, but it's an interesting bit of trivia that I came across, and I wanted to share it too.
Okay, so where's my Hacker News API docs?
That would be... Oh, we had them just a second ago. I think maybe you overwrote them with that one.
Hacker News
Yeah.
API, here we go.
Yeah, I think it's just an open endpoint.
Okay, so let's have a look and see how this works. So we have... Okay, so there's our prefix. So let's just get that in. So URL prefix. And I'm not going to be super clever and build these with nice URL builders. I'm just going to go straight for the string and be done for the beginning. So you said that there is a way of getting IDs.
So it's
Where is this? This is
down a little bit more.
Here we go.
No, top. There it is.
Top stories. Okay, so we are going to start by getting top stories. No, we're going to get best stories because they're better than the top stories because they're the best. All right.
I don't know if best is best all time or what.
Bestest
I
stories
think there
ever.
might be a .json on the end of that. I don't know.
You know what we can do? We can
Oh, we can always test.
use URLs. And I can not create a new tab. I can cut and paste like a normal person. Ooh. I have broken Firebase.
No.
Okay, let's try with .json.
There we go.
Because I think this is using the Firebase
API,
standard
yeah.
database. Okay,
There we go.
Okay. I didn't break Firebase. Awesome. So we need bestest stories ever.json, and that's great. Okay. So what are we going to do next? So we're going to have to call HTTP. So Dart has a built-in HTTP library. It's fine. It's really good. But people have improved on it and have created a HTTP package, which if we go take a look at the Dart pub packages, we shall see that usually it's up near the top.
Yeah, one would imagine.
It's probably one of the D package you will almost always include in, which gives you really nice things like basically giving you gets and posts really, really, really easily and returning things as a feature, as HTTP does. This also is super useful if you want to stream data into your app. So if you actually want to get a stream of bytes and do some funky real-time parsing as the stream of bytes comes in, this also can support that. I'm not going to get into that because I don't remember how it works, but trust me, it is there somewhere. So we got to do a couple of things. One is, I think weirdly, even though it's not in our pub spec,
You think you might be able to?
it does
What just happened?
actually
Does something
exist
else
because
depend on it?
Flutter does. So it's in there with Flutter, which is
Interesting.
nice. Don't depend on versions that are in Flutter because as much as, version dependency, etc.
Yeah, as much fun as implicit unversion dependencies are. We should probably
I
have.
pretty much remember that. These are very low numbers, but trust me, this is not super alpha software. This is actually used by everyone, and most of those people are on the Dart team. You'll recognize those email addresses.
Oh yeah, there's code.
Yeah, and
He's found errors in my code before. He's a nice guy.
your code's perfect.
Because it's been reviewed.
Save, and does this automatically do
No, you gotta do a
package
package get.
Okay. Visual Studio Code does. Okay. No IDE wars here. That's fine. Is that doing
Okay.
things?
Did you do the get?
There we go.
That also works.
Yay. Okay. So
When in doubt,
just-
the command line tools are always there.
Yes. So we have our URL,
Mm-hmm.
and we are now going to fetch our thing. So I think we can just do http.get.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to take our URL. This is nice. This is going to return us a future. So I could do final response equals await. That's fine, and then I can make
Do we have to
this
tag that as a
async. which is probably a better way of doing it. I actually, with HTTP, using .then leads to nice structures, but because we're going to do an expect at the end, it's going to lead to anonymous function madness. So let's do it this way. So I'm just going to use my res there, which is fine. So what do we have? Okay, so we're probably going to want to check if response.status code is usually do not equal to 200. Then we're going to do some error checking. You know what? This is just us doing a test.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to keep this nice and simple and not handle any errors. And so what's this going to give us? It's going to give us res.body. So it's JSON.
It should be just, do we have to decode that or anything like that?
We're going to have to encode it because this is a string. I don't think it...
We don't get UTF-8 for free, right? Is there something we have to do to like go from a byte stream to an actual string?
I think this will give us UTF-8.
Oh, wow.
In a stream situation, you have to decode the bytes.
Okay.
When you get the body, I think... We're going to find out in a second.
Yeah.
So we're going to say this is res.body, so we're going to final JSON string equals res.body, and that's going to be JSON.encode.
Oh, wait, I think parse article is doing that if we go back and look at it. I think this is where I ran into trouble half an hour ago. Command click will do it for you. What?
Am I doing something wrong?
No.
Oh, it's because my code base is all broken. Anyway.
Okay.
Yay.
Yes,
Okay,
I think
perfect.
it's doing the decode. Yeah,
So
that's where I
just
ran into
illustrate.
an issue last time.
Okay, that's we don't even need to do that. So we just need to do res.body. Okay, so how do I run
Wait
this?
a second.
Oh wait, what did I?
So we'd forgotten that we're getting the best stories list and not the articles. You're parsing an article with a
Okay.
list of IDs.
So yes, we now have a list of IDs. So we're going to do some manual JSON deconstruction.
There you go.
So we are going to do final. We're going to ID list JSON equals, my naming is terrible. JSON dot decode. And we are going to decode my res.body.
I may have pulled Dart convert out of the imports above.
Beg your pardon?
I may have not. I don't think I have Dart convert in this file.
Okay.
So it needs to be
Import Dart convert gives me my JSON. Okay. So at this point, JSON.decode, it's going to give us a dynamic, but it's going to be an iterable because it's a list, I think. So we should be fine. I could do something a little more clever like this. Not too sure if we need to do that here.
So that would get you a list of dynamic, right?
I think that would convert that dynamic into a list.
But then it would be a generic type that would be list
dynamic.
of dynamic. Okay.
So let's not do anything too clever because
Works for me.
I know what happens when we do clever things. Don't work. And so we're going to do ID list JSON dot map. Well, we're probably, let's just see if this is working. So let's do if this is no longer JSON, it's just ID list. ID list dot length is no, because we have lots of things like is not empty.
Oh yeah, there's is empty and is not empty.
Yeah, that's really handy. Then what we can do is we're going to have to do a second network call. Oh, this is going to get complicated. Okay. So this is good. Okay. Bear with me. We're going to now have a final story URL equals. Are you a double quotes or single quotes person?
I'm single. Now that I use Dart.
Yeah. I used to do a lot of Python. I'm a single quotes person myself. And this is going to be, let's take a look at the network call, which is here. Ooh, okay. So this should be nice. We don't need pretty printing. We don't
Yeah.
need any of that sort of nonsense. What we need is v0 item id.json. So it's v0 item, and it's going to be something dot JSON.
String interpolation for the win.
And we're going to really make this super ugly by doing id list first. Do you like that?
There you
like
go.
That? Is my code super readable now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what do we have now? So we have this. So now we can do final. What are we going to call this? We're going to call this story res equals http.get story URL. That's lovely. I'm going to have to do this too. And then what we're going to have is we're going to hopefully have our, you know, just in case, this is going to
Pop
live
up in there.
here. And then this is going to be res. No, it's going to be story res. So that's going to make 2 network calls. Come back. We're going to expect this, and well, that's probably going to be wrong now.
No, you could put, ID is not equal to 0 or something like that.
Well, we can run this in breakpointed and see if it works, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, in the real world, of course, you'd want to use an HTTP override or some other mechanism to test everything but the actual networking.
Yes, do not actually put your actual networking in your actual unit tests.
Yeah.
Well, you can.
Yeah, have a separate integration test file or something like that you don't mind, waiting 45 seconds for it to complete. And so
Sometimes in these tests, when you do async, you can actually, handy tip. Where is it? Where's my async? Is this the end of async? Yes. You have additional, how do I show the parameters of this?
oh, Command P.
Command P, Command P.
If you're outside the method now. So if you went back to in between the brace and the
There?
I think that'll work. There we go.
There is a timeout. And that is very handy when you're doing, not networking, but if you're like listening for streams or you're doing whatnot, that will save you some madness if things accidentally run in an infinite loop or whatnot. So timeouts are handy when you're doing async stuff. Handy tip, which I learned the hard way. Right, how do I run this?
So we would want to go from main.dart here. We'd want to pull that down and go back to the test file.
So I got my breakpoint, got my main
Nope,
dart.
sorry, up here where you're pulling down the run configuration. So go to parses item.json.
Did you added this as your configuration?
I think Philip did a while back.
We're blaming Philip for everything.
We do, yeah. He gets a lot done,
He does.
And then you can go over here and click that and do debug. There we go.
All right, let's see what.
Oh,
Flutter instance already running.
well, stop
hang
it
on.
and kill it, I guess. Yeah.
There we go. Are you dead? Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Go away. I will do that again. So we go here, we go debug. Error running, Flutter instance. Hang on a second. Hang on, maybe I hit stop. Oh. I'm going to try that again. Yay!
There we go.
My terrible IntelliJ skills. IntelliJ is awesome. It's been too long since I used it.
Oh, things are happening.
So we've got, okay, so look, if we look here, we've got we've got ID list. Ooh, look at that. So ID
Lots
list
of
is
IDs.
working. We got lots of IDs, much IDs, so IDs. Our story URL is pulling out the first one.
Awesome.
We have story res, and where is our, we got our bytes.
Which I don't want to look at.
Yeah.
You could step into this.
Oh, yes.
So that would be
this one?
That one. Oh,
Where am I now? Oh, wow. Okay.
yeah, it did that.
So that one. Did I get somewhere new?
You're back where you were. You can try stepping in again, and maybe that'll be. There we go. Now you can do step over, which is just to the left of where you were.
This one?
Yeah, one of these days I'll memorize these key commands.
Well, you have. I'm the one who's asking.
Yeah, memorize what the buttons look like.
Oh,
It's
check
not
it
as elite.
I've got to step down again. So what do we have now?
So parse the string.
But check out our JSON string. We've got kids, we've got descendants.
So it hasn't actually made the article yet. That'll be the next call.
Oh, look at that. Why nobody ever wins the car at the mall.
Oh, I read that this morning.
That's the bestest story ever.
Mm-hmm. It's true. No one wins the car. It's true. It's a good article.
That's actually, that was almost if we planned to pull that article up. It could have been something entirely inappropriate.
Yeah.
But we got lucky. Okay, so I can just...
One more step over. We got to make the article.
One step over.
All right, article parsed.
Oh, genius.
Boom.
Look at that. It's like, so, in the space of, let's have a look, a few lines of code, most of them me, checking to see if things are pulled down right.
Mm-hmm.
Making a call in Dart, in Flutter, is like that. The nice thing, though, is, coming obviously from Android development and whatnot, where you have to wrap these things in an async task and run them in a separate thread or whatnot, because Dart is asynchronous by default, you can just do http.get await or .then and pull it down. JSON decoding for simple structures, we had a list of ints that worked quite nicely. I didn't even have to cast that to anything else. It knew that it was an iterable and it pulled it out and they were ints. It doesn't know if it's an int or a string because I just used it here. Then we pulled the story URL, and through the magic of... Where's your article parser?
It's in JSON parsing, which is what lets you know it really needs to be moved somewhere else.
Yep. No, where is your... Is this it? Yep. And through basically the magic of built value, we did have to do some boilerplate to define it, but there is no JSON parsing in sight here because it was auto-generated. And so once you get past the defining this and defining your serializer, which was literally this, things were good. So we have your article objects, our class, we have your parsing handling really nicely, and we now have networking. Philip would have got this done in 10 minutes. I think we've been at this for a while.
Yeah. Actually, let's ask our off-camera producer. How long have we been filming now?
42 minutes.
42 minutes. Okay, so we got some time. Do you want to switch back real quick?
Yep. Let's do magic fadey cut thing and switch back. I could fall over the chair.
I know they go up so high. It's like wearing a bustle in the 19th century.
Do you have experience with that?
No.
Okay.
That's what I imagine it. You never imagine what a bustle would be like. That's fine. All right. There we go. And we're back.
Oops. Now we're back.
Yeah. So let me... So one thing I wanted to mention, and this is a bit of shameless self-promotion here. The Flutter team, we put together a new repo for some samples.
Oh.
And it's not accepted right now because I don't have push or writing requests yet. I got to talk to Ian about it. But I do have a pull request. We have a JSON example that has gone through. It's actually what David Morgan and Kevin Moore.
Oh, that's using their JSON serializer builder plugin, not plugin, package.
It's is deserializing the same set of strings using 3 different approaches. So a roll your own Dart convert approach, a JSON serializable approach, that's on a library for JSON serialization, and then also built value.
Oh, cool.
And so that will be in the Flutter/samples GitHub repo. Hopefully by the time this episode makes it into post-production and gets released.
How do you have 9 stars when there's nothing in the repo?
People like me.
Okay.
I'm naturally charming. And
your code is so awesome. There's
I think-
anticipation. They're starring your repo.
No,
I like that.
I
That's
don't
good.
think people even knew it was my repo because it's really not. It belongs to the Flutter team who made it, and I'm sure people saw it and were like, okay, they'll eventually put something in there, and we will be putting things in there. So this will be one of the examples that goes in, and the idea is that you can look at 3 different ways to serialize JSON and see which one is right for you. So I wanted to mention that. And also, I think, because we're a little over 40 minutes or so at this point, and to keep going right now, what do we need to do? So we've got a model.
So we got the model. We've got the back end pulling it down.
Mhm.
So how hard would it be to wire in the rather naive networking code that I've written and get that displaying an article in
In
the
an actual
Flutter
app.
app?
So let's go look at the.
I mean, we could just say for any article you click on, it shows the article that gets pulled over the network. But
So we've got. Let's see.
look at all these news.
Man, I know.
It's the new police.
Yeah, because the very first episode I think we recorded way before it was released. Not the case anymore. We now have a lead time of about a week. So yeah, let's get rid of all these news. Actually, while I'm at it, through the magic of. Does VS Code do this? Just out of curiosity.
It might
I
do,
assume
but
it does.
my VS Code foo is clearly not as strong as your IntelliJ foo.
Let's
So
see if I've actually
I
broken
would
it.
doff my hat to you if I wasn't wearing a beanie.
All right, let's go back to main.dart. Let's get out of testing right now. So this is the UI layer that Philip worked up in the very first episode. Let me make this a little bit more readable here. If I can hide this.
Nice.
A little bit too big. I mean, there we go. Yeah. So we have a basic app, and he is pulling things out of this, which is just a hard-coded list of articles. So
But where is he showing? Is there an article page?
there's build item, which is he's using a list builder, I think. Yeah, list view. And the children are a map he's just mapping the list of articles to a list of widgets, basically.
So in an
And just
ideal
playing
world,
those.
what we'd probably want to do is we want to pull the articles, we want to cache them somehow so we're not hammering the network.
Mm-hmm.
And then
That gets into a heavyweight article about app state management, though.
Yeah, maybe not now. Maybe we could just pull the article and we could generate a list from it and show the same article multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
Or when we get down to showing the article itself, we could just override the article with a piece of network ing foo to inject the new article.
Mm-hmm. So let's. Okay. So we're definitely not going to want that anymore. Articles. So I'm going to.
You're probably going to want to have two functions, one which is get ID list and get article. So we could break those out of the test and pop them into the utils function or whatnot, whichever way you want to structure it.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to pull all this code out and put it into article, and that will be our new model. So I've commented out, for those of you who've been with us through all 3 episodes, I'm commenting out the original one, and then I'm going to call this article Dart, and
You're going to have to do your serializer magic as well.
I'm going to comment that one out, and this one. So I'm not going to be using that one anymore. So I will need to, oh yeah, serializers needs to move, doesn't it? Let's put that up here.
Yep. And you'll probably need to, do you need to import the, yep.
There we go.
Nice.
So we're just doing a little shuffle now, and I just broke main. Because comments count never existed really in the first place. That was a made-up field that we made. And we'll comment this out as well. Write an IOU to this whole section of code. And also our tests are broken, so that's fun. Let's comment those out as well.
Common practice when your tests break.
Comment them out.
Comment them out.
Yeah, that works. And then I think we can rerun sourcegen, and we'll get article.g.dart.
Yep.
So we'll get
And
the same article class.
your serializer will rebuild to point to the right.
Or it could just blow up. It's also a possibility.
I'm sure it'll be perfect.
Yeah. Oh.
That's only a warning.
I see that Dart UI warning a lot. I think that's come up in other episodes.
Yeah. I think that's because it's a holdover from what they're doing on the website of things. But you can ignore that one. It has no
Yeah.
bearing on what it produces ultimately.
Yeah. Although if you are a Dart coder for the web, built value works just fine.
Yep.
Works on
This
both.
is one of those works across all platforms.
So, okay, so now we've got an article that is serializable, right? So we could now go back into main and say, let's use that somehow. So we could.
Okay.
What if I faked a list of IDs, say 10 IDs, and I just put them in an array up here, and then we set up something that would
Well, why don't you? Didn't we?
fetch them somehow?
Can you go back into your console panel, because you could just steal all the IDs from that if it has.
Oh, I was actually going to go back to your call.
Oh, we could just get it from the other web call.
Yeah.
That would have been simple. I think it's the next one over.
Oh, there we go.
There you go.
So let me just steal some of these. That looks like about 10, right?
Yep.
And we'll go back. And I'm just going to drop these. Let's change this to an int for right now.
Mm-hmm.
We'll call it IDs.
Nice.
Let me get rid of that. And this is going to
Auto format.
chunk.
Dart format is great.
So now I got some IDs. It would be...
Oh, you're gonna do some clever mappy things, aren't you?
I'm going to try... I'm wondering if I can map the IDs to future builders that will kick off the request and then parse the result.
So we're gonna need to create a function to do the HTTP networking stuff and return a future article.
I'm also going to pull out the refresh indicator for right now. Forgive me, Philip. There it goes. Okay.
Wait, I can hear
Yes.
the sounds of screaming
Somewhere
in the
12,000
distance.
miles away. Philip, okay. Okay, so now I've got that, and I've got one too many of those, I think. Yep. There we go. So now I want to map the IDs. This is going to be some serious functional programming here, probably more than I can really handle.
Oh, this is going to return a list of futures. But that's kind of okay. I think we can probably handle this.
Let's just make sure I'm doing this right. Like that. Always good to have the right number of parentheses. Okay.
So that should work now. And
Yeah, it's just going to produce a bunch of
IDs.
ugly text widgets, I think. So let's go ahead and, through the magic of hot reload, there they are.
Oh, look at that! It's running this whole time.
Yeah.
I didn't actually kill it when I hit stop. Okay.
Um,
So the problem here is that we're going to map this, but it's going to map to a. It's going to map to a bunch of futures. There is a way of saying don't return the map iterable until all the futures are futured up. I just wish I could remember how to do it.
I was wondering if we could do it with FutureBuilder. Because with FutureBuilder, we could just make the request, give it the future that comes off of that.
Well, if we pass the... So if we... Yeah, we could do, actually. So if we... Oh... This is it. This is
An art
hardcore.
widget, right?
So FutureBuilder is going to return a widget. You're going to have to give it a future. Oh, and a builder.
So this would be a widget builder, which is what, just build context? I think?
Be build context, and it would be async task of type widget.
Yeah, let's just look at FutureBuilder real quick. Again, one of the best parts about Flutter, all open source. You can always go look at the docs.
Yep. Although, yep.
So it takes a future, an initial data, and a builder. And the builder is
Builder.
async widget builder
Yep.
typed, which is build context and a snapshot.
Of a certain type.
Okay, this is getting slightly more complicated than I hoped it would be, but let's see what I can do.
No, we're good.
All right, so this would be
This would be
build context
context
and then a
async
article.
snapshot.
Async snapshot of an article, right?
An async snap. Well, you're returning ultimately a widget, right?
Let's just say null for now. Why are you yelling at me? What have I forgotten?
Because you've got widget and FutureBuilder. It has to be the same type.
Oh, of course. There we go. And that's going to be a big function, so let me just go ahead and make it one right now. So we are, and then we need a future, right?
Yeah, we need a future.
Future is,
You know, we could just do HTTP. Oh, no.
because we need to parse some stuff.
Because we'll need to parse some stuff. So we might want to have, why don't we have a function, why don't we create a function that returns a future, and then just pop the...
So it would take an ID, it would return a future article. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So future article, or get article, and it would take an ID. And so I would, let me go look at the test that we just wrote to do this. There we go.
So you only need the, you don't need the first half, you only need the bit where it pulls from the ID.
Right there.
There you go.
Cool. And we go back into main. Boop. Okay.
Yep. That's all good. You have to make...
And that becomes ID. This means we don't need the brackets, which is fun. Right?
Yep. And you'll need to make that async.
Async.
And
we need to import HTTP.
And then it's usually HTTP as HTTP.
That's right.
So you don't have weird
So I
get
don't pollute.
methods all over the place.
It's the global get method.
Just get.
That's fine. Story rel if story. Oh,
Yep.
I think that was wrong on the original test.
You're saying my code was wrong? It still worked.
Story red is definitely not. There's a little Freudian slip there. Okay.
And you want to return the parse article? Ooh. Okay.
That seems suspiciously easy. Okay. So that would be get article for I, like that. And so here we might have data, we might not, right?
So this is basically the builder has to return the widget tree.
Okay.
So you probably want to return build item article.
Let's just do texts for right now until we know that we're...
I believe in your code.
Yeah.
I believe in your code. Okay, let's just do
I
that.
don't. But we got to check to see if the snapshot has data, right? So,
Yes.
okay.
So one of the things that when you're using FutureBuilder
I'm going
is
to change that to snapshot, by the way.
FutureBuilder has a snapshot has connection. Oh, that's an interesting way of doing it.
Oh, is this not how you...
I do it differently.
How do you do it, actually?
So if you do if snapshot dot connection
state
equals connection state
some enum value.
yeah dot done. There's a whole bunch of them in there, but done means the future is finished.
Interesting.
And then for anything else, I usually then just show a circle progress indicator to show that you're waiting. And by the magic of Flutter, it just will show the circle progress indicator until the future is complete, and then boom.
And then the future updates. Okay.
You don't like circle progress indicator?
I like text. It's like the console debugging of the Flutter widget land.
Alert. Let's just use alerts. If there's not an alert widget, I'm going to write an alert widget just for you.
You should have seen me when I was doing C++ stuff. I would be like 20 printfs was my debugging method because it's all...
Join us as we reminisce
Yeah.
on memory lane and how we use print statements to debug our
Join
code.
us next week on code done
Flutter,
badly in the past.
the advanced way of writing mobile apps via text.
All right, text article dot...
Name? Title?
Oh, snapshot article.
Oh, yes, it's going to be snapshot.data. Dot title? Name? It should pick up the type.
Oh,
there you go.
that's right.
There you go.
Let's do title. And I should probably put returns on this
Yes.
because it's good to have functions return things when they have return types. I almost don't want to do this.
I'm curious. Oh, did that just like work? Look,
Holy
why no?
crap.
Oh, there we go. That did work. I hope they're all okay.
Well, let me put a little padding on here. Now that it works, let's add a little padding. Yeah.
Can you put in my circle progress indicator now, please?
Okay. So it's a widget. Again, it's something I've never used. So circular.
Circular progress
Just like my
indicator.
IQ is normal.
And that's it.
Oh, just like that?
And let's see. Watch. Oh, now the problem there is that because we're doing it inside the map, it's going to do one for each, which we can fix, but you'll probably need to center that because otherwise it's going to take up the full thing. That's why they all look weird.
Okay.
So if you wrap that in a circle,
Wrap with widget.
center. I beg your pardon.
Oh wait, center has its own thing.
Yep.
There we go.
So let's see if that does something. There you go. Okay.
I can't believe that worked.
Complete faith. So
now we can use build item.
Yeah.
So okay. So what did we have to comments? We still don't have a comment count because that's. I think we covered this in another episode. It's actually hard to calculate. But we could do type.
So this is a row, and you're going to okay, sure. And you got an icon button for launching the URL. That's cool.
Okay, so we'll do the article type, and then we were doing a fake URL before. So let me go ahead and do the real article. Okay, my least favorite bug currently in the IntelliJ plugin, which is fixed in the new release.
Oh.
By the way, by the time this makes the makes YouTube, then that might already be fixed. There's a weird thing when you do tab. It replaces too much.
Might want to be careful because you've got the URL in two places. You got fake URL and article.url.
Yeah. I'm going to get rid of fake URL in just a second.
Yeah, we don't like no fake URLs.
There we go. All right, and then this would become build item snapshot dot data. Oh!
Data not equal to null.
Is that in text? I often do this. Okay, so text is getting.
Is it article.text? Is article.title?
Title should be article dot. Oh, because some of these might not be interesting. Okay. So I'll just do this for now. Thanks to the magic of the coalesce operator.
But isn't it article.title or article.text?
I think it's done. Let's go check our.
No, we had text, which
Oh,
is the
no,
comment
no,
for story,
you're right.
and title is the thing. So I think they all had
Yeah.
titles because you were displaying them earlier.
You're right. It should be title anyway. So I'll leave the null coalesce in there and just switch that to title.
And your key might want to change just in case your keys get messed up.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that's not.
That's the thing. What happens with lists?
Yeah.
Ooh, was that going to work? Is that going to click through? And are we going to be able to read why nobody buys things in the mall?
Is it loading?
I think it's loading. It's loading something.
Did we use some weird proxy setting on it? I used some weird proxy on this emulator.
Can you load things from the emulator?
I should be able to.
Try another.
I mean, I'm loading things from this.
It might just be might be the site URL. That's the Guardian. Surely the Guardian works.
There we go.
Yay!
Oh, yeah, less plastic trash. That's nice.
Your your app's done.
Holy crap.
You're finished.
Yeah, we're done.
Yeah.
End of series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining.
All
hey,
right.
Philip, we're really sorry, but
Yeah.
you missed the end of the show.
We solved it all.
Yeah.
All right. Seems like a natural stopping point then for this episode.
I think we've chanced our luck enough.
Yeah. So things to reiterate. Do please post comments and questions on the video. You can also do #BoringShow on Twitter. There are a few from there that we saw as well and tried to answer. And we will be back. I think I might not be in the next episode. Maybe it'll be you and Philip or you
One
and
of
whoever
us.
we can drag down in here into the studio or something.
So one of us doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah. at any one point, one
Never
of us
see
doesn't
the same
exist.
of them. Yeah, both of them
So
at
there
the
will
same
be a surprise lineup
time.
in the next show.
And Yeah, give us some ideas about how you would like state management done. If you have a particular approach to it that you'd like to see.
Oh, wait, I have to turn up for the state management one?
Yeah, it's all you.
Oh, great.
You gave the talk at I/O. You'll be fine. There's a bunch of options, and it seems like we don't have to do that in the next video, but we might want to touch on it now that we've gotten some of these basics figured out. So,
We're getting close.
blocks, redux, scoped model. It might be good to just roll our own inherited widget just to see it.
Yep, or even just set state in places. But
Yeah, or just stateful widgets. They work pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that's it.
Perfect.
Yeah, thanks for sticking with us.
See you later.
Next time.